Hi everybody, how are you guys doing? Woo! Woo! So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ricky Ortiz, and I've been playing video games for about 20 years. I've been playing competitively for about 10 years, and I play for the team Evil Geniuses, and I'm from the Bay Area. So give it up for the Bay Area. Woo!
Bay Area! Oh my god. Hi, Persia here. I'm a host and a commentator, and also the founder of EXO Academy. So I'm super excited to talk with everyone today. You know, I've been like competing in pretty much like a really long time throughout my life, like starting in shooters and coming to the FGC and kind of experiencing multiple competitive genres definitely proves to me that like the FGC is where it's at, man. So let's get it popping.
Hello. My name is Emily, aka Nyx Rose, and I am the co-founder and owner of Equinox Gaming, which is a North American fighting games team. We have, and I'm also the owner and co-founder of Plus Frame Media, which is basically a digital media agency which helps players create content, negotiate deals, and everything like that. And my history in FGC is actually not that far. I just got into this like maybe 2 years ago, and it's definitely one of my favorite esports communities to be part of.
You are now rocking with the hostess with the mostest. This is your girl, the natural hair gamer, Janae Benet, esports journalist. Thank you. I have been a journalist like my whole life. I like had internships like at NBC and stuff like that. And I realized my skin was not thick enough to do news every day. Like, that's depressing. So I came to video games, and then from video games, it evolved into esports. And I've been in the community for a while. My journey fully started in like Colorado. So like I am kind of used to over this way, but I live in Chicago, and I'm a part of different organizations like Babality, Thumbstick Mafia, Black Girl Gamers, Cookout, you name it, I'm in it.
Hey guys, I'm Sherry, known as Sherry Genix. I'm a competitive fighting game player, mainly, well, actually only Street Fighter 4, starting now into Street Fighter 5. I've been competing for, this is actually my 10th Evo, so 10 years also, just. Also the founder of eFight Pass. If you guys don't know what it is, you guys can go to efightpass.org to check it out.
Hi guys, how's it going? My name is Marine Savangsa. I am an up-and-coming Street Fighter 5 player in FGC. I'm a huge baby, so I'll do my best. I'm located in chilly Minnesota. It's pretty cold out there. And of course, I play Street Fighter, obviously competitively. I play Laura Mata because, you know, I like mix-ups. I like doing goober stuff. But thanks for coming. I really appreciate you guys so much. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kat. My real name's Caitlin, but everyone knows me as Kat. Thank you to Rick, my husband. I'm also from Minnesota, Minneapolis specifically, but I got into the scene in 2009. I am a tournament organizer. My first event was in 2010, and my first EVO was in 2011. And I actually worked that EVO with Focus Fire. And if you don't remember what Focus Fire is, it's actually just Gaming Generation, but they used to use a different name, so. Yeah, I'm the current co-director of Combo Breaker, the floor manager of CEO Gaming, and I'm an EVO TO as well. So, thank you. Thank you for coming.
Oh man, this is too tall for me. Okay, I'm also Carolyn. I'm gonna be taking questions from everyone, but I am founder of Combo Queens. I work for Capcom. I use the TO a lot. I'm known for yelling really loudly, so I probably don't even need this mic right now. But thanks for everyone for coming, and let's start the panel. All right. If you have a question, can you just raise your hand, and then I'll stop by and I'll grab it. Any questions?
Right behind you.
Here? All right. What's your question? we grow women in the FGC compared to like Overwatch and other esports games?
Ooh, I got one. I think all of us up here on the panel being visible as women in the scene and also as women who are influencers has already been helping. Just being in the scene as a decade and watching attendance trends, in the last 3 to 4 years, I've seen way more women that I've never seen before attending our events. So that's one way, is to just kind of keep slowly being present and pushing, but I also think it's important to have panels like this and also be really open as a community discussing when people feel uncomfortable and how to grow together. Anyone else?
I second that. Me too.
Oh, well, I mean, it's just like any other hobby. If you like something, you want everybody else to like it and enjoy it, so you have people to enjoy it with. And that's just what it comes down to. Like, this is what we love to do, and this is what we, spend a lot of our time and effort and money on. And, male or female, it shouldn't matter. So I think, the less we basically make a big deal about it, and then it's like not gonna be like, in terms of being negative, you know what I mean? Like, because I feel like sometimes people can have a negative, opinion about it, but at the end of the day, they still want the same thing. They still want people to enjoy what they enjoy. So I think it's just reminding people that we're all here for the same thing. We're all here to have fun.
Yeah, also if you see your buddy being a D-bag, like, say something. That helps a lot. So, just try to be part of the process.
So next question is, someone has a club and they want to know how it feels if they should have an all women's team or if it's going to exclude or include them more that way, and how you feel about that.
Can you say that again?
Like, how would you feel if there's like an all women's team, and if you agree with it or disagree with it, if it's segregating or not segregating, things like that?
Okay. My view is kind of similar to my view on having an all-women's tournament. I know it's kind of the same stigma where people are just like, oh, if women want to be included in the community, why would we have something that's all women? Like, why would we have an all-women team? Why would we have an all-women's tournament? To be quite honest, Evo actually had an all-women's tournament in, I think, 2010. Yeah. I participated, and I believe almost 50 other girls participated as well, and that's quite the number. And to be quite honest, I started playing in fighting games in Street Fighter 4 because of an all-girls tournament. So I actually think if you are at the event and you're participating, it actually builds a very positive community because you meet a lot of girls who play the same game, have the same passion, and these are girls that you didn't even know played the game. And a lot more people are willing to come out when they feel like they can relate to other people. And to be quite honest, I feel like there's absolutely no negative effect overall that comes from having an all-women's tournament. As you can see in Smash Sisters, they've grown so well, really positive outlook for them and all the girls, they stick together, and it's growing by a lot. So I actually support it. I don't see anything wrong with it.
I think it's kind of important to know, like, for the club specifically, like, what are your goals and your initiatives as a club? Because that's where it can vary. Like, for instance, EXO Academy, it is, only female competitors getting an opportunity to, go through the program and training with these coaches. But that is our initiative. That's what we want to do. So obviously, no issue on my end for it to be, girls only thing. But if, you want to just be inclusive and, just to grow and just have them participate without making them feel like, oh, to participate, you only have to be, a part of the all-girls section. It's like, it depends on your club and what your initiative as the club is, in my opinion.
I totally agree. I also would like to just highlight Combo Queens. Obviously, there's a meeting after this panel for Combo Queens. That has been, I think, a pretty good initiative, and its entire goal is just being inclusive of women, because there's so fewer of us that it's better to get us all gathered together and it's more comfortable. But like with Combo Queens, like, guys can still come. We're not trying to be exclusive. We just want to have kind of a place to breathe and kind of meet each other and then reintegrate back into the greater scene, because I think it helps women to feel more comfortable in the sea of guys, to be honest, when they might see another woman that they met at a meetup, and I think that helps. So.
It's hard to feel welcomed when there's so many trolls and negative comments, like on social media, Twitch. But when there are, positive influences like other women in your position or allies, even men, helping us, I think that it helps. You feel comfortable and feel welcomed. So when I first started competing or like playing video games, I refused to like turn on my microphone because I was really scared of people attacking me. But then I discovered that there was this all-girls clan. It was in Halo 2, and so when I finally found out that there was other women like that I could talk to and be myself with, I felt like I felt welcomed, and I felt like I had a place to belong. So that was like 10 years ago. So as you can see where I've gone, I feel like it's really important for women or any marginalized group to have a safe space to just be themselves, to feel comfortable, feel welcomed. So I'm all for it. I have nothing against it.
The next question is, what was your biggest roadblock or being in the fighting game community, and how did you overcome it?
Myself. Self-doubt, to be specific. There's been a lot of times where just like all the microcosms of the little things that I experience from attendees or even from other staff people has made me want to just like go backstage and scream or cry or quit. And it's my biggest hurdle has been kind of pushing myself to continue.
I would also say the support system too, because when it's really weird when you're like the nerdiest person in your group and then you get around real nerds and you be like, dang, I don't know nothing. So definitely like myself as well, because it took me a while to get comfortable walking up to people and being like, hi, do you want to be my video game friend? And definitely having like the support system to continue playing. Like right now I'm like super into MK. And I met like a lot of the women in the NRS scene, and like I literally have practice sessions where they are holding me accountable because I'd be like, man, I'm tired, I don't want to practice. And she's like, but you can't do that Jackie combo yet, so get your butt up and we're practicing. And so the support system has definitely been like, if you don't have it, you won't play. Like you could, and I also play Overwatch, and like you can get on and play Overwatch, but I'm not playing competitive with random people. I need my people. I need thank you, right. Yeah, I need my people to play with. I need to know someone's gonna play, and like, this is in everyday life to play support, tank, and DPS. Like that's what I need. We can't all be DPS. It don't work like that.
So I know when I started playing competitively, and of course I started getting a lot of attention, a lot of people would say, oh, you, like on, let's say for our Street Fighter, like, oh, you only got the our Street Fighter sponsorship because you're a girl. And it's like, huh? Like, why are you saying that, I'm just really here to mash buttons, and I really want to go up, I really want to go out of my way and, play the same game like everyone else is playing, and of course, gaining that experience and most definitely moving forward with it in future tournaments. And I always tell myself, whenever I see those hateful comments about me, they're not me. You literally do not know me. So I don't know why you think you say oh, Marine, like she's such a B word or whatever. I'm trying to keep it censored. But it's kind of hilarious to me because you're not doing anything. I'm doing something. I'm literally out there busting my ass and making things work for me because, like I said, I just want to mash buttons. I want to play with everyone, and I want to be cool, of course, with everyone. So.
Definitely one of my biggest triggers for self-doubt is other people being shitty to me. Just kind of echoing what Maureen said, it's sort of like an ongoing battle to just keep doing what you're doing because you want to be doing it and not focus on what other people think about you.
For me, it's really strange when when we even introduced that this panel is happening, there was like a lot of controversy about it, and people like basically trivialized a lot of the things that women go through in the industry, and it's weird because like, how do you know what we go through when you're not, like a woman in this industry? So when a lot of the trolls and stuff come out and say like, it's FGC is like full of equality, whatever, but like it's not true. And these panels are like very important for us to discuss these sort of issues. And it is a struggle a lot of times when people a lot of the social media, a lot of the comments are just like, there's no place for this, which is why I think this is really important.
Yeah, kind of a more like generic statement about the whole growth thing. I think all of us, we all get put into a situation where we feel like we have to prove something to others because there's so many people that doubt us, so many people that say things to us, and in our heads we're kind of like, oh, we can't lose because we got to prove them wrong. Everybody says we suck and all this, but real growth is when you start realizing that you're not doing this to prove others wrong. You're doing this to prove to yourself that you can do it because you know you can, and you start growing once you switch that mindset to that, and it's still pretty hard to do in general because I think all of us here are really hard on ourselves, and when we don't do as well as we want to in whatever field it is, like us as competitors or as like a TO, manager and all that, we all have some type of goal, and sometimes we don't always reach it, and then we're really hard on ourselves. But I think that's how we've gotten this far in the scene. We have a lot of support from others, but we're all very, very strong individuals.
When you
Hell
said
yeah.
that, oh my bad. Sure. When you said that, I thought of like the whole "get good" statement, and I feel like we have to internalize that and make it positive. Like, if I walk up to you and I'd be like, "Hey, I can't do this," and you'd be like, "Get good," I'm gonna fight you. like you can catch these real hands. They don't have to be virtual.
It's not constructive.
Yeah. So like we have to really internalize being like, oh man, like I should get good, but I can be like, hey, how do I do this? And so that comes back to like the support system, but also having a better connotation on the get good slogan.
I would say my biggest roadblock in the FGC for sure would have to be when I transition from male to female. I think that the internet can be a nasty place, and I remember when I first initially transitioned, before that, like people knew me as just Ricky Ortiz, like an amazing player who, win a lot of tournaments over time. And when I finally transition, I feel like the focus shifted completely from me being Ricky Ortiz, the Street Fighter player, to Ricky Ortiz, the transgender female player. And I feel like people, instead of focusing more on my game, they started focusing more on my transition, more saying like, oh, they would see me at a tournament, they would not talk about my match really, they would talk about more like how do I look physically, if I looked bad, if I looked good. Oh, I would get all kinds of nasty comments of people saying that, oh, like Ricky should have just stayed a boy, Ricky looked way better as a boy. It's like, we don't need to hear comments like that, I feel. And I feel like that also you have to put into perspective that like, what originally brought you to this scene? What originally brought me to this scene was all the beautiful people, all of you guys who are here competing and playing with me, making all these new friends, all the support system I have back at home, all the support I have with all the people who I play with. I just had to tune out all the negative comments and just think of everything that I have within the community. And I feel it's always great, like all these girls said, it's great to have a really good support system and people who care about you and people who can bring positivity into your life, because that really makes a big difference, I feel. And that definitely helped me a lot after I transitioned in the scene, for sure.
We love you, Ricky.
I don't even think I should say anything after that. But I think just like a huge hurdle that I face all the time is that, I'm always too embarrassed to ask for help. And that held me back from doing a lot of, great things. And I think EXO Academy is a great example of that because, the Patreon we have up, everyone that subscribes, that's us asking for help, and that's you guys answering the call. And without all that, things like EXO Academy wouldn't thrive the way that it is. So it's like, asking for help can be embarrassing, and it can be scary, and especially when I want to do everything all the time, but at the end of the day, we are a community, right? So I think asking for help, don't be embarrassed. Very smart friend told me a closed mouth never gets fed, and that has always been in my mind all the time. So yeah, don't be afraid, man.
The next question is, what can local TOs do to make women feel more comfortable and more inviting?
Listen. When a girl at your local comes up to you and says they have a problem, take them seriously and listen, and then go talk to the person that did something bad. Like, the biggest thing that I, as a TO, experience is women coming up to me, and they don't just talk to me about what happened to them at the huge event that we're at. It goes all the way back to their locals. It goes back to, you know, I've gone to this TO, I've gone to that TO. They didn't do anything. They didn't talk to this guy. They blew me off. They asked, you know, it's just listen and don't try to, don't try to be thinking of like, well, what caused that to happen? Just take it at face value and just go talk to the guy. Or I assume it's a guy. Sometimes it's another woman, let's be real. But usually it's like kind of, yeah, just listen and try to, conflict sucks. It really does. It sucks to be the person who's in charge and has to go talk to somebody that was really rude. And a lot of times it is probably just that the person was rude and didn't realize they were being rude. That's super common, but just that stuff can fester. And it can fester for years. And when it's a woman and they're the only girl in the scene and they don't feel listened to, it festers and they stop coming. They stop going to events. So that's, I guess, what I have to say.
I'm going to stop and say, if anyone ever feels uncomfortable at an event, you're welcome to DM Combo Queens. Like, we'll handle it. We can, like, if you're too scared to say anything, confront anyone, we're always there. I've gotten a couple DMs. I've helped sort people out. So don't be scared. We're there for you. That's the whole reason why I started this.
Also, to make sure that people know where you stand. Like, if you aren't here for any type of harassment, people need to know that. People can't just be like, oh yeah, you know, such and such is like a real cool dude, but then it's like, oh, he might not mind if like I harass someone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people know your personality, but you want to show them the things that you stand for. So don't be lukewarm when it comes to like any type of harassment. You'd be like, this isn't okay. If we're not doing this here, we're not doing this on all platforms, Medium, anything like that. Like, we're not doing this. So I think it's really important to be super vocal on, hey, I don't think that's okay. And especially if people look up to you and they expect you to like engage in these online conversations, and when you see something happening, you can be like, yeah, I don't think that's cool. And like, then they just know, like, you don't have to go into any type of dissertation and be like, this is how I feel, but you could just be like, this isn't cool. So they know, don't bring that over here.
Also, just because somebody's your boy doesn't mean they didn't say something whack. It's the more reason for you to be the one to talk to them about it.
Just like, be human, be normal, be nice. Like, just be nice to each other.
It costs $0.
You don't have to
$0 to
treat
be nice.
girls special or women special, but just be cool, be human.
Yep.
All right. Since we are on the topic on like harassment, what kind of advice would you give newer players that don't know anything to protect themselves against harassment or like online trolls like you guys were talking about earlier?
So, I'm from Chicago, and I have friends that are like 7 feet tall, and they used to tell me these. No, that's not my protection. I mean, it is, you know, but like. And they used to tell me that anytime someone harassed them, they would ask them their address. And like, while that's like hilarious, don't. Like, nobody should be fighting anybody. But the support system comes back into place, and, you know, they always used to tell you in school to like remove yourself, but stand up for yourself. Like, stand up for yourself, tell people how they're not gonna talk to you a certain way or how they're not gonna treat you any type of weird way. Kind of a random fact, it's gonna be real weird. I've started to get like super creepy guys on my LinkedIn trying to add me for things other than like work related. And it's the same thing, like it's just a different platform, or it's just a different medium, and you just have to stand up for yourself and be like, you came into my place of business on this day of Mondays and you thought you were gonna be slick. You can't do that. So stand up for yourself, stand up for other people, and don't be that person. Like that's how that works. Like if we're all not that person and then we all stand up for someone else who's experiencing that, less people would be comfortable making other people feel uncomfortable.
I also think I think we all get hit into that vortex where we're like kind of bored at home, at work or something, and we check social media, and then we're just like, man, I don't know who this guy is, but he's talking crap about me. You know, you're like, you kind of want to respond. I've done it a couple of times. People know this about me, but I like sometimes people get into this mental state where just like, why am I competing? Why am I putting myself through all of this for no reason when I just want to play the game? But I think if you're new, you probably came with a group of friends, you probably play with a group of friends. So I think it's really important that you remind yourself that you're here just to play and you have a healthy group of friends around you. And even when you go to tournaments, I know we talk about online trolls and stuff and all that. Sometimes it does happen in person, very rarely, but you just kind of surround yourself with people that are very positive. Your friends. Like every single time I come to a tournament, I'm really happy to see everybody, and it's never a bad time. Like I just have a blast every single time I go to a tournament. And when I'm at home and I'm on Twitter and like fighting people on Facebook and Twitter, I gotta be like, remember when you were just like Evo last week and having a blast? Like you don't wanna give that up because these people that you don't even know are trying to push you away from it. Just remember the good times that you have.
And sexual harassment in general is very real, and it happens a lot at events. And it's just important for you to, you know, sometimes I think it's good to confront the aggressor, but some people like me, I'm very nervous about confrontation, so it's important to find your allies, find your support system, tell the TOs, just make a paper trail of what's happening to you. And then, like for me, I was harassed once at an event, and I just didn't want anybody to know about it. I wanted to push it under the rug, but then like I thought, you know, what if this person does this to other women or other people? So the first thing I did was I went to a Discord with a lot of the women here, and I asked them for advice, and then they said it's important to, you know, either you say something publicly, or you tell other women and they can be like a buffer for you and help, or you just tell the TOs. So there are options what you can do. But like I said, harassment is really real in this, and it's important to just, you know, like for me, give a voice to what you're going through. So tell your friends or like tell tell somebody so that it just doesn't go quiet, because it's very real and it happens a lot at events.
I always get a lot of messages from other fellow trans women and just fans in general who have never been in the FGC or went to an event and just kind of watch online and who are fans of the game just in general. And their main concern is they're scared to come to events because they see how the stream chat is and how people talk on forums and, you know, Reddit and whatnot. But I would try to instill to people that I feel like the scene as a whole is very different than what people are viewing from a stream. I feel like you're gonna see a lot of nasty comments on stream. I feel like anonymity is just insane, and people just can think they could say whatever they want when they're on stream, just like judge you in any way possible. But I feel like when you come to an event, that doesn't really happen that often, and I feel like most people that I meet in the scene are very genuine and sweet, and I try to think back. And I always tell these people that when I was just like you, like I came to the scene at one point and I didn't really know anybody. I had a couple friends here and there, but everybody was very nice, kind, and welcoming. And I try to instill people that the scene that they see visually from behind the computer is not the real FGC. I always encourage people to try to come to events and try to talk to people and try to talk to even me. I say if you're coming to the scene and you're a new player and you're scared to talk to people, come and talk to me. I'll be more than willing and more than happy to talk to you and to, you know, help you find friends or just talk to you and just, you know, help you in the game or get to know you, because I think the more people in the scene, the better, and the more happy people in the scene makes it even greater, I feel.
Thanks, guys. Sam, I think this question's mostly for you and me. They're asking, what are the goals of EXO Academy and Combo Queens, and what can anyone do to help support us more?
Cool. So, you know, EXO Academy, it was like a brainchild of mine, like all the way back in like 2014. But it was a very different format back then. It was supposed to just be like a big session where we would have pro players come and, you know, teach kind of like just in a big room. But, you know, looking at how things changed so much since 2014, I was like, I want to get more specific. So, you know, the big goals through EXO Academy is to help women get opportunities to go to these events, but not only a plane trip and a hotel, but to prepare them to be there too. So it's like, you know, physical therapy is important. We gotta take care of ourselves so that we can perform our best. Marketing and branding from the wonderful Mama Dow, you know, helping our players like find out exactly their direction in this community, because there are so many different opportunities in gaming right now. And if you can truly find your direction, that's gonna help you make effective choices for your career and everything else that you do. And then of course we have media training to help our girls like always feel protected and confident when they are doing interviews or dealing with people online, so on and so forth. And then of course the gameplay like training and the coaching with these really awesome players, like that's the most exciting part for me, because you know it is a lot to ask these coaches to dedicate a day out of their week to come and, you know, help these women grow and help them get better and help prepare them for the next big event. And the fact that they are willing to do that, you know, it speaks volumes about where even our top players want our women to go. So the big goals for EXO Academy is to help give a platform and give opportunities to women. We're still very small, you know, we only have the first 2 waves, we had 2 players in each wave. The last 2 waves, we've had 1 player each, and we're basically, you know, thriving off of very kind and supporting like people who are supporting our Patreon. Oh, I'm getting emotional, you guys. You guys supported us so much, and you know, I've had, you know, amazing people like contribute and support and share and be excited for us and be there right along with us every moment that, you know, we're watching these players grow. And I watch all of our players just grow so much. Aww. And it makes me really proud. Thanks, Sam. All of you make me really damn proud. You know that? And no, it's awesome. And I think that's the goal, is to help. And you guys do that for us. And I'm so glad that EXO Academy can do that for, you know, women. And even though we are small and we have only been able to support like 6 players this year, I have like 75 applications in my inbox that I wish I could help each and every one of them. But, you know, in time, hopefully we can. But, yeah.
Yeah, before I started on Combo Queens, Marine was part of EXO Academy. Do you want to talk about your experience?
So my experience in EXO Academy was amazing. It was great, and literally I can't thank Persia enough for the opportunity. Like, I tried really hard not to like cry during my vlogs because I'm like, oh, I really want to perform well, you know. It was great training with Mikey. He goes by Samurai, and he helped me a lot because I have troubles with my mentality. Because anytime I play, I always think of the negative things where I think like, oh, I should have done this, or I should have done that, blah, blah, blah. And it ends up not being my favorite, and I get really sad after my match. But what Samurai taught me was you just gotta play how, what did he say? You just gotta play how you want to play. So like you gotta calm yourself, you gotta think, and you gotta observe in a way, and just do the best that you can do. And it also helped me as well because I always try to talk myself down, like, okay, I gotta cool down, I gotta, you know, stop rushing in, I gotta stop pressing buttons. And, you know, when Mikey was there, it helped me enhance my self-talk. And here I am, you know, I feel a lot more positive playing Street Fighter V and playing in tournament, and I just hope I can go like further beyond with my positive mindset. So, you know, I'm just so grateful for Persia setting up this program where, of course, physical therapy, marketing and branding, and personal trainer. So we feel really close with our team members on EXO Academy. So thank you.
Honestly, like, and Anne Marine, she made it out in winners in her polls. She plays tomorrow.
I was gonna say that.
And our Wave 4 player, Phantomeria, she's here also. She plays tomorrow at 10 a.m. if you guys want to support. She's been doing an amazing job. She's been practicing super hard, and I know she's going to kill it. She's got Tokido in her pools, but easy. No, it's going to be really fun. And I mean, honestly, one of my favorite things about the Academy is that I am super mindful about the coaches that I pick to train the player. You know, top players, they're top players. Obviously, they're great at the game, but that doesn't mean they're a great coach. So sometimes you have to look for what, you know, the player really needs. And I felt like with Marine, I've seen her play. I've seen her mix up everybody under the sun. But that, you know, the mentality, that's the part that I really feel like if she has that, then nothing's going to stop her. So it's like, why wouldn't I think Samurai would be a perfect, you know, fit, because we've seen how he handles himself. Yeah, the meditation, it's great. So, you know, that's been a really fun part of EXO Academy. And then I forgot to mention, but I also include coaching sessions, like an elective, quote unquote, I could say. But, you know, I find out what else do these players like to do, because yeah, it's great if you are a pro player and you're, you know, winning everything, that's awesome. But it's also great to have something else, you know, to also lean on also. So we have Vampy Bitme is our cosplay coach, and, you know, her and Marine met, which was amazing. And then James Chen, he's our commentary coach, and he also met with Miria this wave. So it's really cool. I feel like it's a well-rounded program, and I don't know, it's a goal. We want to be real well-rounded people. So.
And then Sherry also does eFight Pass. You want to tell us your goals and how to support it too?
Okay, eFight Pass, if you don't know, it's a program that I created to help foreign players get their visas to travel to the US. If you read on my website, it kind of talks about how this idea formed. I started traveling more internationally this year. I started closer towards the end of last year. So that's where I met El Tigre from Mexico. I met Crossover from Dominican Republic. And if you guys paid attention to the whole Capcom Cup fiasco last year, Crossover actually qualified to play in Capcom Cup from his region, but unfortunately he got his visa denied, so he had to give up his spot. He was really, really sad about it. So I, you know, was like, I'm not an immigration lawyer or anything. I consulted with one to get the information for this program. You know, I just want to help some players, and at first it started off as I just want to help El Tigre and I just want to help Crossover, but then I realized, you know, we're a community, and I'm pretty sure if I asked the community to help, they would step up to the plate and help a whole bunch of other players, because it's expensive, and there's a lot of players that I don't know in the world either. So that's why I wanted to have like this whole application program. I'm not really big on social media about it, because I just want people to, the only thing I want is for people to know that this program exists. So if you have a local hero and you want them to kind of get their own moment of spotlight. I just want to reward players that have worked really, really hard despite their circumstances. You know, I just want them to know that people are watching and that they do have an opportunity to make it to the US, because, you know, EVO's here, Capcom Cup is here. We have so many major tournaments here in the US, CEO and Combo Breaker. Like, everybody just wants to come to these tournaments. So that's why I created the program, and the community has been really helpful so far. You guys helped with a lot of the donations. I actually held a charity tournament in SoCal at Super Arcade, and everyone from SoCal showed up. A lot of people paid attention to the stream, and we actually made a lot of money off the raffles. And that actually all went to getting the players from Wave 2 here, and it covered their entire hotel at the Mandalay Bay. So thank you guys. And right now, all the players that got their visas approved, unfortunately 2 of them didn't, but all the ones who did, there's 4 so far, they're all here at EVO, thanks to the help of Justin. He flew out 3 of the players actually, and I don't think Anya played yet, but El Tigre made it out in winners. Zenith is playing at 8 p.m., and Arslan, pretty sure he's gonna win Tekken here at EVO.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Cuddle Core's too shy to talk, but she wants to thank you personally for setting that up, because it helped put Pakistan and the Middle East on the map for Tekken.
Thank you guys for working so hard.
I think Cuddlecore is going to win Tekken this year at EVO. Just throwing that out there. Okay.
Yeah, you better win. Top 8. You're going to take top 8 Tekken. Let's go. All right. Another thing is, what do you think, or grassroots versus esports, and what are your opinions about that?
Those two don't go together.
Sorry, I had like so many notes, but yeah. What are your opinions between grassroots tournaments compared to esports, or like the move towards esports?
Oh boy.
I actually had the pleasure of, for a very short time, owning a gaming lounge in Colorado, and I got to like host one of the biggest tournaments that Aurora, Colorado had seen at that point. And I was really into it because there were so many people who came out and helped. If y'all can't tell, I'm super fragile and I can't carry a CRTV. And that's when people wanted to do Melee. So it's really important because you get like the people who care about their things and who care about the community to come out and play. But like there definitely needs to be the same amount of attention that like CSGO and all the other games, that have like these super high budgets and stuff, there definitely needs to be, keep that same energy, sis, like when it comes to the FGC and like any of the like grassroots tournaments and stuff like that. I think it's a great push, and I think there still needs to be that level of like camaraderie and like intertwining of the people who were there from grassroots to make it to that like esports level of type of tournament.
So I definitely think that all of our major events are still grassroots. I do think there are starting to be more and more esports events, and some of them do well, some of them do not. I think as the community, what I've witnessed is that a lot of people, they don't want to give up the grassroots stuff, like they'll fight or die for it, but they do kind of want the money. Like we do kind of want to have more sponsorships, we do kind of want to have bigger prize pools and all of that stuff, and I think so far the fighting game community has been unique in that we have started to push forward and we have started to have bigger developer involvement, bigger sponsorships, bigger companies getting involved, but we are still clinging on to our grassroots organizers, still staying in charge of their events and kind of keeping the community feel. I hope we can continue to do that. I think we're kind of a unique esport right now, but I definitely think the FGC is an esport. Like, it's 2019, EVO has like 15,000 people here. You know, we can no longer say, oh, we're not esports, but I don't think that we're the same as the rest of them yet. And so I think there's some people behind the scenes that have been fighting that fight, and Rick, my husband, being one of them, which is why I said all of this, because this is just my perspective of kind of where we're going. I don't know. I'm conflicted. I don't necessarily always think that esports is all bad, because it does come with more money. It comes with the ability to pay our tournament staff the wages that they should be getting, because we work like 14-hour days with like, you know, a cold McDonald's sandwich backstage for lunch. And that should be rewarded with being able to pay a bill with it. You know, maybe we still can't quit our day jobs. Most people in esports, well, in the FGC at least, don't or can't. You know, it's good that we can now pay our judges. You know, 5 years ago, that would never have been a thing, because there wasn't really the resources there. So I think there's some good and some bad, and I hope that as a community we can continue to kind of go forward and forge this new and unique path that probably the fighting game community is the only community that can forge that path, and I don't know. I hope that made sense.
I think there's, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was bothering me too, actually. I could see it. I was like, Sorry.
So I really think there's a time and place for everything. I have a unique perspective because I'm a team owner. So of course I feel like we need sponsors and brands to come in to help to sustain the FGC. And like I said, there's a time and place. So just because there's going to be esports events doesn't mean the grassroots is just going to disappear. There's still going to be locals. There's still going to be Wednesday night fights. There's still going to be grassroots events. And I think that's really unique about the FGC is that the local scenes are always, like, they're really important to the game. A lot of esports out there, like the T1, the T2 scene, T3, local scene's kind of dead. And I think it's important for brands and sponsors, non-endemic and endemic, to come into the scene, because that's how we can sustain it and make it thrive, because so many players work so hard and put on a lot of hours, and staff as well. And it's hard because a lot of people joke that the FGC or Tekken, whatever, is like poverty esports because there's not a lot of money in there. And Tekken, like the big sponsor last year, is like an endemic brand, and the prize pool is kind of small. And so I feel like, yes, it's important to remember your roots, the grassroots, but it's also important to grow and let sponsors come in and like welcome them in. But of course, like it's important for brands and sponsors to be sort of authentic and genuine in the way they approach the FGC, because I've seen like tons of brands come in and they just don't understand the fighting game community. And the fighting game community, I notice, is very unforgiving of brands that are like don't understand the scene and just come in here treating it like any other esport, because it's not. The FGC is very special. So I think there needs to be a medium, of course, but like I said, there's a time and place for grassroots and esports events.
We're
Okay,
also the oldest
yeah.
esport. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard, but we're also the oldest esport, like the arcade scene. So
No big deal. Okay, so I think we're like 10, 15 minutes left. We're gonna have like 2 more questions. This next one is, what can a new player do to build their support system?
Just be a cool human being. Honestly, for me, when I started streaming, I was extremely shy, just talking into my microphone, looking at the webcam on my desktop. It felt really awkward for me at first, because I remember my good friend Subaware, he would tell me like, hey, you need to just chillax, you need to just talk how you usually talk. And I'm like, okay, I'll try. And then I started, growing and growing while streaming. I've been streaming for almost a year now, so it's been helping me a lot to talk with others at tournaments and just talking with other companies or brands and whatnot. And it's a great journey because you get to see how much you grow just from building your community. And shout outs to the Poop Squad. Thank you so much. Seriously, I love my community super, super freaking much, and I wouldn't be here without them. So that's all I have to say. Just be cool, just be you, and just do you.
You gotta support other people. Like, it's not a one-person show. I'm a streamer as well, and it's real funny. The first couple times you start streaming to watch yourself, and you keep keying with yourself, like, remember that joke I made? Yeah, that was hilarious. But then it'll just be you. Like, you have to go to other people, and you have to talk to them. You have to be like, hey, I need help with this. And for people who are trying to get, the person who is trying to give the support, like, give the support. Don't just be like, oh yeah, well, like, just stream, just have a consistent schedule, like, you'll be fine. No, be like, hey, me and my friends will come by and watch, or hey, I noticed that when you play Mayhem in Overwatch, you don't talk much. And it's like, you probably shouldn't play that on stream because you're not talking. Like, what's the point of you streaming and you're not talking? Turn off your cam and your mic then, So you have to support other people, and people have to be open to giving support as well. And you can't really be shy about it because closed mouths don't get fed. You cannot be by yourself. Like, that's maddening. I really like that saying.
For me, when I look for players to, potentially recruit for the team, it's important to be more than just good at the game. You need to be easy to work with. You need to be personable. You need to have a passion for your brand, because it's not enough to just show up and play. You need to do more than that. And that's important for signing a player, and that's also important for making your own group of friends, your own community. You need to it needs to be more than just the game. You need to have like that community built, and I think that a lot of people think that just because somebody is really good, then they should, be sponsored. But it's more than that. It's a lot more than that, and you need to be well-rounded. As Patricia said.
I think when we hear support system, we think, 5, 10 people, or we think a whole system, but sometimes it's okay to start small, especially, people might not know this about me, but I pretty much split myself up into 2 different people. I feel like Persia is very extroverted. She's out there, she's wild. Sam, however, is a different story. I do get anxiety a lot. I get nervous to talk to people sometimes, but when I come to events, I have to remind myself, everyone here, I feel like a broken record, but we're all here for the same reason, right? So I at least have something in common with everyone in this room, guaranteed, right? So, that's something to keep in mind. It can be nerve-wracking and scary to try to meet new people, and especially if you're going into it being can this person be a part of my support system? It's maybe we'll start slow first. Don't be afraid to say hi to somebody, introduce yourself. I mean, you're not really gonna know how to get over that anxiety until you do it, and then figure out what's the next best steps after that for yourself. Going up to someone you don't know and try to introduce yourself and they look at you weird, maybe I'll choose a different course of action next time after I get over how mentally damaging the first interaction was. And it's work, and finding a good support system should be work, because these are people that you're kind of entrusting the most vulnerable parts of yourself to. So it's okay if your support system is only one person to start off with, and then you get more comfortable with the idea of giving more of yourself to people you can trust. So it's okay to start small. A support system doesn't have to be a big group of people. It just needs to be the right people to help you be comfortable and help you get through life just like everybody else, but being able to have that safe space is good. So don't be afraid. I know it sucks, but it's fine. Everything will be fine. It sounds cliche, but that is something I tell myself a lot when I'm feeling really, feeling my anxiety about going up and talking to somebody. I just tell myself it is going to be okay. I'm what's the worst that could happen with introducing myself? They don't talk to me. All right, that's not that bad actually. Okay, so it's okay. It's all going to be okay.
I've been really socially awkward so many times to people, and now we're friends. So
yeah.
Not a last question. I think we have 2 more left. What are some ways that you do, aside from streaming, maybe streaming, but to market and brand yourself better?
Wow. Okay. So, 1, you cannot be toxic in general. 2, well, it kind of goes into talking with other people. I know Twitter can sometimes just be a black hole that everyone is just yelling at you. I ate today. I watched Lion King. I did this, and it's kind of well, what that got to do with me? And you just have to kind of be engaging. And the Twitter, the comment section under a really popular tweet is gold. So you get in there Nightwolf. The gameplay just came out. You could go through that thread and respond to people, and then people are going to be checking for you and being oh, well, I know this person does this, and I know this person talks about that. And so that's kind of marketing yourself because you're out there. If you are just someone who plays Jade, I wouldn't be checking for you. But if you engage in all Mortal Kombat speech and everything like that, I'd be oh, let me include this person, because you can make lists and stuff on Twitter. I'd be let me include this person into my Esports list or my MK11 list or something like that. So it's important to go out and meet people and talk to people, whether it's in person or on any specific medium. If it's Instagram, you want to click on that thread and just get to talking to people. I'm sure people have hashtag Evo 2019. and you can go in there and be like, oh wow, can't wait to see you, or like, oh, well, probably don't say that if you don't like, if you just be mindful of what you're saying, but engage with people and have consistency, which is a curse word to me. You have to be like consistent when you do things. Like I'm a writer, and it's not that I have to consistently write, I have to consistently be pushing my pieces. So if you tweeted something out one time and you're like, oh, no one read it, like if you're on Medium and you write, you get to see stats and stuff like that. And if you're like, oh man, no one read it, yeah, it's okay. Tweet it out again, post a piece of it. And I also do videos. I'll post like trailers of my video on Twitter, and I'll post it like at peak times. You gotta learn when the peak times are, and you gotta learn like what these people are doing at what point. Like 12 o'clock is lunchtime, so people are probably gonna be scrolling through, whichever platform, and then I need to be on there and be like, what are you guys eating for lunch? Like, that's a pretty good way to also talk to people. It doesn't strictly just have to be about things that are video game related. And as part of branding, you kind of want your name to be the same thing everywhere. Like if you Google my name, which I'm super proud of, if you Google Janae Benet, if you figure out how to spell it, if you Google that, I'll pop up and you can find me. You can find like the different things I've been involved in. You want to keep consistent like with your name and the things that you do, and you have to know what you want people to be known for. Like I'm not like into shoes like that, so I would never expect somebody to like look for me under like sneakerhead as like an Instagram hashtag. It would be like esports journalist, it would be like black girl gamer, it would be something like that. So you want to sit down and think about exactly what you want to be known for, and then go for those things or that thing, and don't drift too far from that, because then people are gonna be like, wait, what do? You cosplay journalist, competitive player, sneakerhead? Like that doesn't really fit on, your business card. You wanna be like, oh, I do this and I do that, and you kinda wanna make sure everything bleeds into one.
I think one thing that's really, or the biggest thing that's really important about marketing and branding is staying true to yourself. As people know, like Popeyes can open in Canada right now, and I'll have someone from Vancouver tweeting to me like, hey, just to let you know, there's a Popeyes that just opened down my street in Canada. Like everybody knows about me and Popeyes, but truly, I do love Popeyes. And I've been, the local Popeyes that I go to, I've been there for 3 generations of managers. Like they love me there, I'm telling you. So it's like, and it's really easy for me to talk about it because like that's something that I really like. When I talk about Viper, I loved Viper in Street Fighter 4, like as a character, her moveset and everything. And that's kind of just how people know me now. They know me as whatever they call me, Popeye's Queen, I guess. People know that I really like cars because I post about my car every now and then. At car shows a lot, and I make posts about that. Totally not FGC related, but I guess that's part of my marketing and branding stuff. And if Popeyes is watching, they should sponsor me if you guys are watching the stream. But yeah, it's really easy to brand and market yourself when you are not trying to pretend to be something that you're not. Because if you want to, like, I like Jordans or whatever, you can try to talk to me about it. I really don't know anything about it. I'm like, oh, that shoe, yeah, it looks nice. Oh, it's a what? Oh, well, yeah. But I won't pretend that I know what's going on. And I feel like when you put this facade on and you have to play on it, like, it gets really complicated and you're like, it should just go to crap. And another thing is, like, if you are a toxic person, that's probably not going to go well for you if you like stay to your true self as being a toxic person. Because sure, you might get the notoriety that you wanted about being a well-known person, but it will really stop you from getting opportunities in the future if all you're really known for is for talking down about other people and talking crap and like just not being a positive person. So I think 99% of the population is positive in general, and everybody is unique in their own way. You don't have to be like somebody else. Stay true to yourself and take that, whatever you like, however you like being. If you like being shy, if you like being outgoing, take it to 110% and just be that way. And people will know you for that. Like, they'll know that that is just how you are and that is what you like or don't like. And that's how you grow as your own brand. That's it.
just echoing what they said, it's important to figure out your identity, your niche. If you keep switching around what your specialty is or what your focus is, people are going to get really confused. So it's important to figure out, like, are you an analytical commentator? Are you a content creator doing funny clips? Are you like Hi Fight, where you get a lot of interesting highlights? You have to figure out what you like and what you want to produce, and then find an audience for it. Because if you just don't have a focus, people don't know, like, why should they follow you? They don't know why to follow you. You need to figure out what your specialty is, what you want to focus on, and just basically give it exposure, visibility. Because if you're not showing yourself off, like, how are people going to know about you? It's not enough to do just word of mouth. And also, if you just, show up to your locals a lot, just like meet people there, network. It's really important to just put yourself out there, and also figure out what kind of person, what kind of brand you want, and then stick to it and be genuine in it as well. Because then you'll burn out, or people will see right through you, especially in the FGC. Authenticity is very important in the FGC.
I kind of like to think about, like, my brand as like a puppy, right? Like, you gotta love it. You gotta make sure it has everything it needs to survive, and it's not just one thing, right? You can't just give it water and that's it. No, you gotta food, water, exercise, every single day, learning something, teaching this puppy something every day, whether it be content or, not the puppy. Puppy's not gonna make content, but I'm just saying, in that sense, I kind of feel like you gotta treat it like a puppy, and that puppy will grow. And how you treat it, what you put into, the effort in raising this puppy is how, it's gonna reflect what the puppy will be when it grows up. So I kind of look at my brand like that. Like, am I showing enough love to my puppy right now? Because if you don't love it, if you don't love your brand, why would anybody else love your brand? So, I don't know, that's just kind of the way I turned it into something like I could just reference to not get lost in, like, the intimidation of being on top of your brand all the time, because I feel like that gets scary sometimes. So treat your puppy right. That's it.
The last question, have you ever encountered a creep, and how did you get out of it, or what advice would you give for someone who's stuck in that position as well?
Oh my God.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure the short answer is we've all encountered a creep.
Oh, well, if you guys don't know, I had a really scary situation recently for the past actually year and a half with an actual stalker. Somebody actually flew to my house from Massachusetts and found me by watching my BBC documentary and looking at random streets that were filmed and finding my house that way. I feel the best way to deal with that is to be vocal, because if anybody knows me, all my close friends, everybody, I am a very, very private person. I don't like to talk about my personal life that much. I like to keep it within the game. I love talking about the game. I love talking about things I do, fashion, whatnot. So I swept it under the rug for the longest time, and I thought maybe by me sweeping it under the rug, this person will just go away and stop messaging me and stop bothering me, but that didn't work. I found out that the best way I can deal with it is to be vocal. So what happened was this person had came to final round of 2019 to come and find me, and my friend Justin Wong saw him and basically told me about it. And at that time I was like, you know what? This is not going to go away. This is something I can't sweep under the rug. This is something I need to tell people about. I need to be vocal about. And as soon as I was vocal about my situation, I got endless amounts of support from the community, endless amounts. And me initially, I was just so scared to be, because I didn't want people to think that I was something that I just wanted sympathy for, or something that I wasn't taking seriously. But that wasn't the case. So I think if you're ever dealing with a creep, ever dealing with somebody who's being negative to you, be vocal, because it definitely helps so much, and people will be on your side. Don't be scared.
And I just want to say that, men can also have creeps, and I've had a lot of my guy friends come up to me and talk to me about how, like, a woman is, like, making them really uncomfortable, and they feel like, they can't talk about it because makes them not masculine or something, but it's important to talk to people and let them know, because harassment by anybody is not okay. Women, men, it doesn't matter. Like, it happens a lot with men as well at events. And like I said, it's important to give it, like, leave a paper trail, talk about it with people, just let people know what's happening, because you'd be surprised like how much support you get from the community. And I think that's what makes FGC really special.
I also had a similar situation to Ricky's, not as serious. I don't know if you guys saw on my YouTube, I made a video about it before, but the only reason why I made a video is because this person basically sent me emails every day, and I didn't pay any attention to it. I sent it straight to spam. The emails were kind of like, oh, here's a picture of a rose that I took from our first date. No, we did not go on a date. It would be emails like that, and I was like, you know what, it's kind of harmless. He didn't say anything crazy. It's just like kind of like that, so I sent it to spam. And eventually, he started showing up to tournaments. I saw him in NorCal, and luckily my friends were around. Ricky was there, K-Rad was there. Everybody was there to kind of protect me. And then eventually, he started saying like, I'm going to see you at this tournament, this tournament, this tournament. I was like, okay, this is starting to make me really uncomfortable. So I actually reached out to the TOs, and I was like, oh, here's the story. Universal Studios, not even related to FGC. I was at Universal Studios in Hollywood with my friends, and I was on the very last roller coaster ride. And you know, they normally ask you how many people are in your group to seat you, and we said 7. And as we're waiting to get onto the cart, I hear the worker behind me say, hey, are you with them too? And I turned around and it was him. So he had actually found me at Universal Studios. And I looked at my friends, I was like, yo, that's that guy, I'm pretty sure that's him. And we didn't know what to do. I was scared, but I kind of like got mad at the same time, because I was like, what is this guy doing here? And I was like, I think I should say something to him. Like not yell at him or anything, but I was like, I think I should say something. My friends are like, no, it's a bad idea. But anyways, from that incident, talked to the police, because I think people should go to the police and report these types of incidents. But unfortunately, the police couldn't give me a restraining order, because they said that he never technically threatened me. He just said I was going to be at this tournament and whatnot. Then I reached out to certain TOs, and they also, like, I was actually really surprised. They said that they couldn't do anything to help me because I didn't have a restraining order. So I was pretty disappointed in that, and that's why I made the video. It was kind of a call out. So that's what, that kind of supports their statement about you should be vocal about it, because if people aren't willing to help you, like, somebody better do something about it. So when I made that video, actually, Evo reached out to me, and they were just like, hey, give us this guy's information and a picture, and we'll make sure we ban him from Evo. So when that happened, all of a sudden, all the TOs are just like, oh man, we got you. This guy's not gonna make it into our tournaments. And I was like, okay, thank you. And I actually did reach out to the guy. I replied to the last email he sent to me, and I tried to be as professional as possible. I didn't want to like anger him in any way. I was like, hey, just to let you know, I let the cops know, and if they said if you continue to do this, like they will make an arrest, and you know, just please stop messaging me. And from then on, he completely stopped, and you know, I get scared every now and then. Carolyn actually was very supportive. She sent me a couple tasers. Yeah, I have 2 of them. Yeah, but yeah, again, so being vocal is really important, but on the other side, the whole like how to handle it, like if you aren't the person that is the victim of this, don't be the person to say, well, you should have done this, well, you should have done that. Because when I made that YouTube video, I had a lot of comments saying like, why didn't you just tell off the guy? You should have cursed him out. You should have had your friends beat him up. What's his address? Like they wanted to do a witch hunt, basically. And they were kind of blaming me for not handling it correctly. But how does someone really handle it? Because not everybody has been in that situation before. So if you guys want to be supportive, just be supportive and just be there for them. And don't be the person to be like, you should have done this, because it honestly doesn't make us feel any better.
Right, for sure. Sorry, real quick. And I like what Sherry said, like, don't be that person, because I've had a lot of people who would come up to me and be very jokingly about it. Like, say things like, oh, well, you shouldn't have took that picture with that outfit, or you shouldn't look as good or as bad, or whatever way you do. It's
all
like,
the time.
that is like out of my control, and just because people take pictures a certain way, talk about certain things, you know, their persona is a certain way, doesn't mean that should make a person react that way. Like, no one should have to deal with anything like that and deal with somebody stalking them or harassing them at all. Like, it's definitely not the person's fault. And so I feel like people, they shouldn't joke around about it when it's a very serious matter like that.
I had a moment where someone decided to put their genitalia on me at yeah, you know. We both had on clothes, but it was still very uncomfortable. And like things like that, like first of all, just being a black woman that lives near Wrigleyville in Chicago, I'm always dealing with drunk non-minorities that get on the train that think it's okay to like kiss me or like touch me or something like that. So it happens like more often than just kind of like being, you know, like in like a fighting game tournament and things like that. And I have kind of gotten aggressive with people because you're now in my personal bubble, which I definitely, like, I won't make eye contact and then stuff like that, and I'll just kind of be like, oh, okay. But like as soon as someone like leans in and like tries to kiss me or something like that, I definitely started shoving people, definitely have slapped a few. And that's just for people who are comfortable being more aggressive. Like if you're not comfortable, then you do have to like travel in packs, get you a taser, like, you know, I had a knife on my keys, like I had pepper spray, like I have everything, but it's just something that kind of happened so quickly. And it had nothing to do with what I had. Okay, it didn't have anything to do with what I had on. It's just that these how our other people think. You know, they think it's okay, like legit think it's okay. And so you got to get more aggressive with it, because then what happens is, like, because there was a point where I was like, no, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to. And like that festers within you while that person is out harassing other people. And so like when it happens to me, I'm like, oh, you caught the right one today, because we're going to do something. And so you like getting aggressive with them for people who are comfortable with it. I'm not saying everyone should. It really helps them to hopefully think twice, because they're gonna be like, dang, last time I did that, I got slapped, or dang, last time I did that, I got cut. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I shouldn't do this anymore. But yeah, it's just, you do have to be vocal. Like, even if you have to scream in that moment where someone has done something, like someone put their genitalia on me, gross. You know, even if you have to scream in that moment, like bloody freaking murder, do it. And you shouldn't feel uncomfortable, because it's your body. They literally came into your personal space that you don't let anybody in, or whomever you want to let in, you didn't let them in, and you need to let them know that. So I know sometimes it's a bit easier to be like meek and quiet and be like, oh, if I just stand still, like nothing will happen. No, we about to box right now. Like, you cannot put your little thing on me. I don't care what you think you had. You can't put it on me, you know? And so the situations that I've been in are a bit more aggressive. Like you guys' situation was like most definitely serious, but like I haven't had that stuff happen, but I've definitely had it on like just taking public transportation and everything like that. People just get way too comfortable, or you know, they want to just be in my bubble, and you can't. And you shouldn't be afraid to like shove people, only, you know, after they touch you, if they're getting too close. Like legit, you know, have a pocket knife, like have a taser, have pepper spray, do something to where you can be like, well, this is immediate. And no, it's not always going to be enough, but then you don't have to sit with yourself and being like, I didn't do anything about it, because I started to feel that way because these things were happening like all the time. And so that's kind of how I deal with the more like day-to-day stuff. But I'm a scrapper, so. Yeah.
Okay, I'll swear this is short because it's like we're over time. But there is kind of a middle ground. Like, I try to just be very direct when stuff. I'm not going to go into like the stories of the things that have happened, but just be really, like, one thing that's not, it's kind of in the middle, is just be really direct. Like, look the person right in the face and say no, or I don't think that's funny. Kind of be really blunt. But I just wanted to echo everybody here, like, don't let it fester. And one of the big reasons you should, if you have the courage, talk to other people or go to a person of authority like a TO or even the police about it, is because the people that do this stuff, it's not like a bunch of, it's not everybody. It's like 1 out of 100 people does it multiple times to many people. And so the sooner we can have them called out and hopefully addressed in some way, and maybe they can start to relearn their social habits, that helps everybody, men and women, to have less harassment in the world. So that's all I had to say.
I also have a little bit to say, and especially like, of course, about Twitch chat as well. Like, I remember when I'm just like sitting there, just playing video games, literally just wearing a sweater, sweatpants, and some guy's like, "Hey, you, I want to see boobs," and it's like,
Show me your bobs.
"Show me your bobs right now." And it's crazy because, like, honestly, well, like, shout out to my mods for taking care of that. Like, they're great because they know, like, it's really crappy to just have someone come through and just say something stupid like that. And one of the things is having the the mute and block button. Like, it's so powerful. It's great. And some people think that it's like some sort of contest where it's like, oh, haha, you used the block button on me. That means, like, I won the battle. It's like, you're just annoying. You're like, I don't want to talk to you. I'm just going to block you because, you're creepy. You're just being annoying. Boom, you're blocked. So it's great to have that feature on, like, Twitter, on Twitch, and Instagram, other social media platforms as well. And I guess I also want to share one quick experience that I had. I remember when I was just streaming a Yakuza. Yakuza is my favorite game. I love it. And some guy, he kept asking me about, like, hey, what's your bra size? And I'm like, dude, what the heck? Banned him. 30 minutes later, he made a new account and made the same comments, and so on and so on. And that's where to the point where I had to report him to Twitch, and they were able to ban his IP address so he can stop making all those those accounts and saying all those gross, nasty comments. So yeah, block, mute button, great feature. It's you guys gotta use it. Like, don't feel bad about blocking a person because your mentality comes first. Like, you have to check yourself and say, like, wow, this person is making me upset. I really need to use the block button or mute button. Just do it.
Okay, so we're actually really over time. But give a thanks to everyone at this panel. They did a great job.
And a round of applause to you guys.
Yeah, thank
for
you guys
showing
for all
up.
showing
Thank
up.
you.
Like, it's already back to the room. I really appreciate it. I had so much anxiety, so I love that everyone showed up. Thank you so much.